I don't know.
Yeah.
Is
Maybe
that
they go
actually...
after Shifty. I mean, that's usually when people are new to Holy Paladin, what I've seen as a weakness is if you train them, they fall behind and maybe die without bubbling, or if you have a spread pressure comp, they fall behind to dots and can't deal with it. So that's
You're
like their
referring to
only
me, aren't
opening.
you?
That's like their only. That's like their
Yeah,
only opening, right? Like eventually, just probably gonna go for it on the Shifties because the longer the
that's
game
all.
goes,
Yeah,
they
it
rip
seems
it
like
around.
that's really all they can do. But at the same time, they're gonna be dead if CMG and Grayson can do whatever
Yeah.
they want on Joxy.
Definitely. And he's staying far back, building up the Cloudburst totem, dropping the Healing Rain. Avengelyne charging in, though, has the Earth Shield. Freedoms himself to push in. There's the Fist of Justice onto Shifty. He's going to Freedom it to reduce the CC. A Hex onto Grayson. He's going to Trinket immediately to go for Polymarchs. Avengelyne's Avenging Rat doing a ton of damage on a CMG at 50%. Grayson getting bopped by Shifty there, but the full trap lands. CMG popping the Shadow Fiend, though. Silenced up. He can't wall. Has to use the bubble, and that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, the disarm silence preventing that bubble. He still has wings up for a couple more seconds, but CMG going to be just fine. Shifty using that Avenging Wrath to keep his team offensive, and Avengelyne still not out of the woods yet. Dhorthy caught into that polymorph. Joxy going to have to throw out the first Spirit Link there, as well as Evangelyne's wall. Joxy only has his Trinket as well as one Spirit Link left available. Evangelyne has nothing left. The Fear coming out onto Avengelyne and Dhorthy. The Deep Sheep coming out from Grayson does get interrupted there by Dhorthy. Good job, good awareness by him. And because of that, Avengelyne should be fine for a little bit longer.
Yeah, but the only major CD left is Joxy's Trinket Spirit Link, which means Avengelyne's going to have to stack on him and play very defensive, which isn't going to force any CDs. Dhorthy getting feared up by the VT Dispel on his pet. He's running the Men Pet Glyph, so his pet can have 100% uptime, and he's going to have full stacks here. Kroos comes up in 2 seconds. Fist of Justice on his Shifties. They're trying to get something rolling onto CMG, but he Spectral Guise is before the Crows come up. Still getting chunked, though. Shifty's finally out of the CC, going for the heal. Swapping over to Grayson. Murder of Crows comes up. He blink Blazing Speeds out of line of sight. Shifty's just going to bop the Crows off, playing completely safe. Now spamming the Polar Morphs. Avengelyne could just go down here. Full poly onto Joxy, full fist into the silence on Avengelyne. Devouring Plague comes up. Joxy nowhere near him. He's trying to get to him for the link. The link comes down with the Trinket, but that was the last stand of cooldowns.
Yeah, and CMG still has his Trinket as well as Disperse available. Shifty still having his bubble as well. The Hodge coming out onto Shifty's. Grayson going to immediately block that CC on him. Try to keep his team alive. Spamming out those polymorphs on Dhorthy at the moment. Shifty's popping that Avenging Wrath. Does get Wyvern on it though, but he is able to top off CMG as well as get that sack off, so that Wyvern is going to break. And now, Avengelyne only has his Trinket. He still has a Trinket sack available in 8 seconds, which is going to be key for him to survive. He needs to get Joxy out of the next CC that hits him, or he's probably just going to die because his wall's fading. Here comes the Deep Freeze onto Joxy though, and into a full fear. The Hodge coming out onto Avengelyne. Avengelyne has to Trinket that. He needs to get the sack onto Joxy if he can. He's still hovering at around 50% HP. Did he just sack air? Yeah, I guess he ended up sacking air.
But
The wing
CMG
coming out.
40% HP, the Avenging Wrath forcing it, goes into the Horrify. Shifty has to bubble. Crows out onto CMG, getting crushed right now through the barrage, forced into the dispersion, trying to desperately run away, eventually turning it around there, but he's out of sacks. Bubble up in 13, might not matter. Killshot coming in, 17%. Shifty got locked out, 23%. Eventually trying to put the nail in the coffin right now, but Shifty spamming the heals, trying to fake cast the counter shot. He manages to fake cast it. He's spamming the heals. Fist of Justice comes out onto Avengelyne, but he has the bubble available now. He needs to stay offensive. He's pulling back for a few more seconds to line while Joxy's feared up, spamming the flash heals now. Ice Nova's going to connect, though. He got locked out. He can't bubble for a few seconds at 20%. He should be able to bubble now if he has to. Gets the bubble off on Joxy's silence, and he's going to have a Spirit Link in 27 seconds, but both sides, it's looking very hard to deal with now.
Yeah, Shifty has no cooldowns left, doesn't have those wings up for a little while. The sack coming out on the CMG. Shifty did sack that, but it did get... No, it didn't get dispelled. It did break onto Shifty's. Shifty's going to pop those wings now and hopefully be able to top off CMG. Avengelyne, though, taking so much damage. The full sheep onto Joxy. The fear out of that. He has the wall up, but is it going to be enough? Gets a big heal on himself, but he's still hovering around 50% HP. Joxy now into the Deep Freeze. Avengelyne down to 30% HP, 20% HP. If they can get any follow-up CC on Joxy, this could be the end for Avengelyne. Avengelyne has nothing left. He has a sack up in 5 seconds to get Joxy out of that CC. CMG taking damage, though. At the same time, Shifty has his wings up for another 2 seconds. Is caught into that DR trap at the moment, and CMG in a little bit of trouble. Still doesn't have that disperse available for another 37 seconds, with Joxy caught into the full sheep. Avengelyne into the Hodge. He has wall up as well as Riptide and the healing stream ticking on him. Because of that, he's going to be okay, and there's going to be no follow-up CC onto Joxy. And as I say that, he gets caught into the Frost Jaw. Hodge on a Shifty at the same time. CMG taking a lot of damage. Dhorothy going to have that BM Crows up in around 10 seconds, as well as the wings from Avengelyne. And CMG doesn't have to disperse for another 10 seconds. If they can somehow make something happen, he could be in a lot of trouble with Avengelyne just dying at 40% HP at the moment. Joxy trying to go for that Hex, gets the Hex onto Grayson right now, and he should be able to spam some heals on Avengelyne because of it. Gets caught into the Hodge, and Avengelyne might just die. The wings come out, trying desperately defensively.
Grayson, no! On hypothermia! Eventually 20%. Grayson's just going to get killed! He ice blocked offensive, and Dhorthy capitalized on it. He crozed him immediately when he came out of the block, and eventually just snipes him with the Avenging Wrath. Good read by Dhorthy, catching Tymillia out there, offensively blocking and just owning him.
Oh my goodness. Let's take a quick look at the replay. Keep an eye on Tymillia as that Hex landed by Joxy in the middle of all that. Tymillia actually blocked it with hypothermia up at this point. Evangelyne's so defensive, but the link comes out, keeps him offensive. Tymillia is dipping so low. That's Avenging Wrath Crows, and he blocked offensively, and they just slaughtered him. And there it is. The very first map of this best of 3 series is going to I'm Stuck. Whoa. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Yeah.
Here, let me ask you something really fast, Dmachine.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh.
That's what Generic whispered me, too.
Yeah, actually, let me consult. One sec. That's actually a rule change that we took out for tournament number 11, but I'm not sure if that's in for tournament number 10. Let me go double check. If it is, that would be our fault, and it would just be, it wouldn't necessarily be a default. Let me just see.
It wouldn't matter. Dhorthy won the first round, so they would just have to pick a different comp.
Oh, right. Okay. Wow, and they still won it. That's crazy. Okay. With that being said, so it's 2 classes can change at a time. Oh, so they can't play. I see. We're going to take a quick break, guys. I mean, I'm not going to be going away anytime soon. I'm going to keep it on this scene and everything. But I do have something to take care of, as there was a mistake on our end, and we want to deal with it as professionally as possible. So give us just a minute here, guys. Oh, Shifty's actually offline now. I'm getting spammed, man. So
getting spammed?
Yeah, by a couple people. It's hard to read who's whom. Okay, so there was a rule, everybody. So we did make a mistake. There is a rule for tournament number 10 that teams, 1 class change for each team is allowed per round and before the games are played. And Team Season 8 actually changed 2 classes. They changed their Rogue out for a Shadow Priest, and then they changed their Restoration Druid out for a Holy Paladin. Though thankfully,
is that a change though? Think about it. CMG's not playing an off spec.
It's a change from a Rogue.
But they signed up with 4 players.
Oh, right.
It's not like they're subbing somebody in or somebody like he's changing his spec. I'm trying to think really deeply about this.
Each team, each class change. You're right. That's actually completely
it's
within the rules.
It's not a class change if he's on the team. It'd be different if CMG wanted to play a Warlock.
Right. And he signed up for a Warlock.
Yeah. And Pally. But he only changed Druid to Pally, and CMG was on the roster in Shadow already. It's not like he changed anything.
It seems weird anyways. They should be able to play whatever they want going into a matchup.
No, tournament number 11, you're absolutely, Ben. That is going to be the thing. This was a rule that was actually created in tournament number 3, and we find it irrelevant now. As we going forward, we will change this. But as of right now, you're absolutely right, Stupa, because it is a completely separate player. It isn't actually a class change. So, that being said, I feel like they can continue to play the same composition that they are now.
I mean, you don't sign up and say, we're only playing RMD, right? You sign up with 4 people, and I can play all of these comps.
Right.
And if I need to change one class, like I want a Druid healer to heal me on God Comp instead of a Pally, that's one class change. But if you want to change and say, I want to play FMP instead of God Comp, now there's 2 class changes.
Yeah, so I do apologize for the break, guys. We're just trying to get our own rules down as things change and our rules evolve. The older rules that we originally signed up with for GCD TV are becoming different, and we're trying to figure them out. But and as players get more and more compositions available, the teams have more and more compositions available to them, our rules change. So that being said, I do.
They played God Comp yesterday, didn't they?
Yeah, no. I feel as though they were actually in their complete means to be able to play this game with the Holy Paladin. I feel like that was completely right. So I believe they're probably going to. That being said, if they can continue, they are allowed to play Holy Paladin God Comp again.
Did Shifty rage quit?
No, he's probably swapping over to his Druid now.
Oh, I thought you said he logged off. I was wondering if he rage quit.
Yeah, he's been swapping back and forth. So I guess the class change would have to occur. Like, I mean, this rule is irrelevant because it's not going to be here for tournament number 11.
But it is here.
But it is here for right now.
They're breaking it.
And they're not breaking it. You're correct. I believe that they're not. So we're just going to jump right back into the games. And the very first win does go to I'm Stuck regardless. It's very confusing when you start the rules off with a tournament being one way, and then the tournament evolves into something you didn't expect.
It's got a mind of its own. Oh man, tournament has a mind of its own. It's changing.
Oh, what is this transmog? That guy looks sick.
Whoa.
Oh my god. What the?
What the?
What are you? I've never seen something this magnificent.
Where are you? I want to see.
Ironforge. I'm screenshotting this magnificent Draenei. This is so unique. What? He's like a Cyclops with... What the... Oh, no, don't leave, come back!
I have a question. Did they change crows? For some reason I remember it lasting like 30 seconds at some point, or like lasted forever at the start of this expansion. Am I crazy?
Not 100% sure.
I think I might be crazy. But I remember that crows just being on me forever. Like it wasn't like, it didn't last 8 seconds or whatever it lasts now. It lasted years.
It might have, yeah. I think it did less damage, but over a longer period of time. He's flying away, man. It's this guy on the helicopter. He's in the sky.
Don't let him escape.
He's running away. He doesn't like me looking at him. It's like he knows. I didn't even say his name. He's literally running away from me. Stop running. I want to look at you. Look at him. He knows.
So apparently it used to last 30 seconds.
Crows did?
Oh, he's down.
Yeah,
he's
crows used to last 30 seconds and have a 2-minute cooldown. But then they cut the CD in half and the duration.
It's this guy, Full Metal. His name is Full Metal.
Sorry for the consistent.
Dude, crows are cray cray. I was talking to Super T's about this, but everyone, like, when you see like a Windwalker monk and he uses Hurricane Strike, and you're like, whoa, that guy's dying so fast, that's crazy. The ideal setup for a Windwalker monk using Hurricane Strikes with like 10 stacks, his trinket, everything, does the same damage if every single tick of Hurricane Strike hits the one person as crows. It's insane. And there's virtually no setup for crows. You just press the button with BM.
Yep.
It does infinite damage. I didn't actually know it. I didn't know how much damage it did, but I think it can hit for like 130,000 or something with BM up, with your trinket up.
I think it takes like 14 to 16k a tick, and I don't know how much it ticks.
Yeah, total.
And then you add barrage and your pet attacking, and that's when it kind of gets ridiculous. They're gonna go with Blade's Edge Arena though.
Actually, I don't know. Okay, so one class change for each team is allowed per round, so I am going to ask Shifty to change his class to Restoration Druid, and the reason why I do this is because as a team...
Per round, though. This is a new round.
Oh, this is a new round, so he can be a Restorer Druid. He can
go Pally, and CMG's a summon, not a class change.
We could have just pretended last game that it doesn't actually matter, because even if he played Druid and they lost, it's the same thing.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. This is the second round. If this was the round before, we should have prevented them from playing the Holy Paladin, but they actually won.
Yeah, so it didn't matter. Slight oversight, but whatever. Ultimately, it didn't matter at all.
They got to prove that they're gods and kill them anyway.
Yep.
That was crazy. That was a really close game, too. So the second map of this best-of-3 series is going to be on Blade's Edge Arena. Oh, man. I am stoked that even through a hard counter, they did pull out a win. But can they do it again? That's the question. Shifty's actually back on a Restoration Druid.
Are we going to allow that class change? I'm not sure.
I don't know, man. That's one class change for round.
Is that technically a class change, though?
It is a class change, Dmachine.
What do you mean, is it technically a class change? Going from Paladin to Druid? What do you think?
Are Paladins orange? Do Paladins turn into trees?
I don't think so. Paladins don't even like broccoli, as far as I know.
Let me go ahead and let these
They like steak. They don't love nature.
Paladins are more, they're more of a meat and potatoes kind of guy or girl.
Are we playing it or?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, we're playing. Okay, sarcasm aside.
I don't know, I feel like actually this is a better move on this God Comp side. I mean, Shifty isn't completely familiar with Holy Paladin. Maybe running God Comp on the Resto Druid might be better for this specific team. I don't know.
Yeah, it could end up being better. Pet Nova coming out early on to Dhorthy, spamming the spell steals out, going for some polymers, trying to fake the interrupt so when he pushes in with the deep freeze, he doesn't have to worry about any of them. He does get the rebuke out from Avengelyne. Fist of Justice on the Shifty, the execution sentence up on Grayson. Going to be taking a bunch of damage in the center. The full trap lands. CMG going for the Master Spell. Going to get the Master Spell off. Dhorthy taking a ton of damage into the bash. Might have to trinket deter right here. Sacrifice onto the poly by a double fears. Landed Dhorthy with the Devouring Plague at 30% HP. Trying to stay alive. It's going to use the deterrence. Save his trinket for later. Full poly lands. Actually trinketed by Joxy there to keep Dhorthy offensive onto Grayson as the Iron Bark fades.
Now Avengelyne's actually down both sacks, and Joxy only has no trinket available either, as well as Dorothy's one deterrence is gone. So I mean, they don't really have too much left. Dorothy has trinket deterrence, Avengelyne has his trinket, but no sacks available to get Joxy out of CC. So this is really scary for the team of I'm Stuck at the moment. Meanwhile, I'm not sure who they're trying to hit. Avengelyne going to connect onto, it looks like he's trying to get onto CMG, but he is caught into that full cycle, and meanwhile Joxy caught into the polymorph. Dhorthy down to around 40% HP, having to use that second deterrence. He has no deterrences available now, and Joxy still has no trinket, so this could be really scary for Dhorthy in the future. The silence coming out onto Joxy. Avengelyne caught into some CC. He's going to get out of that. They're trying to turn it around onto Grayson, trying to get pressure onto Grayson. Dhorthy using the BM. The Crow's coming out right now, but Shifty's just going to Ironbark that. They're going to play safe. They're going to pull back and try to wait out this Crow's.
Yeah, and with no deterrences left, Dhorthy can explode a full clone onto Avengelyne. No sacrifice for 18 seconds if Grayson can get in there and get a poly. Another cyclone onto Avengelyne. Shifty's relentless with the CC. Horrifying to Dhorthy. He managed to drop down out of line of sight, but CMG's right on top of him now. Full bash onto Avengelyne as well. Devouring Plague coming up at 50% HP. Master's calls. He's trying to run, but this could be it. Joxy drops the link before the clone, giving Dhorthy the time he needs to stay alive. He's going for the Wyvern Sting out of the Fist of Justice. That's going to land. CMG obviously can't Master Spell. Second Devouring Plague coming onto Dhorthy, though, at 50%. 50%. The half trap landed on Shifty, but there's no pressure. Dhorothy at 50%, silence onto Joxy, 40%. Ice Nova comes in. He's trying to line of sight, 22% HP. The Riptide comes out before the deep isn't enough. Devouring Plague, Death Range coming out here, 3%. Gonna go down on Blade's Edge Arena here, and that Godcut was not in any trouble. That did not feel like anything
for them really at all. Yeah.
I wonder if this team wants Shifty to go back to Holy Paladin. That was intense, man, but the COD comp just controlled the whole game the whole time. It is now 1-1, and the next game is going to determine who advances and faces DBK.
Looks like those Resto Druids aren't as bad as we had originally thought, huh?
Hey man, the cross CC is nice to have.
Holy Paladins and Resto Druids are both pretty good. And
Yeah,
they each
they're
have their
both
own weakness.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
true.
You're 100% correct, yeah. Alright everybody, the last map of this best of 3 series to determine who's advancing is going to be on Ruins of Lordaeron.
Welcome to the Ruins of Lordaeron.
What does this map choice mean?
Means hunters are good here.
It means Shifty must die.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Must
Yeah.
die.
I think, but it's so scary, man.
Push through
It's
the
a
pain.
nightmare. Yeah,
through
if
the
you have to
pain.
train down Shifties, it's so scary to just let a Mage and a Shadow Priest do whatever they want.
I
CC
feel like
just
it's one of those things where
never-
it's scary anyway.
Yeah, no, it's
Like,
true.
just use everything, go for it, kill him. Because they're not going to win. Look, they tried to stagger that game out. I mean, there was a bit of overlap, maybe too many things used, but at the same time, like the longer it goes, they eventually get those, and you just fall behind and can't capitalize on it. The only reason Grayson went down is because he offensively blocked when Crows was up and Avenging Wrath in the perfect situation with no bop. Like that's the only
Yeah.
time he dies. So like I feel like they need to just go for it. See if they decide to do it though. Urshield up onto Dhorothy, but they could just go onto Avengelyne in this game instead. Already eating a VT Dispel on the pet from the Men Pet Glyph. Joxy just loading up the Riptides, dropping an early healing stream as well. Grayson building up the Icicles, full dots onto Dhorothy. Seems like he's going to be the target of choice again. Defreeze onto Joxy. Avengelyne standing in line of sight to be able to sacrifice it. He's actually choosing not to. Dhorothy's line of sighting very well back here, but he gets horrified. Avengelyne gets put into the full clone. Trinkets out of that, throws the Fist of Justice onto Shifty here. Dhorothy's still in trouble though. Devouring Plague out, pops the Beast of Wrath Crows onto Grayson this time. The Ironbark gets thrown out by Shifty's Avenging Wrath, blown by Avenging as well. Grayson trying to get pressured, but he's just standing in the middle of the map and not taking any damage, even though all those cooldowns are blown.
Yeah, Shifty did pop that Vigil as well as the Ironbark under Grayson. Now finally the Ironbark is gone, so Grayson's going to get chunked down a little bit harder than that. Eventually its wings are going to fade in another 2 seconds. CMG taking a little bit of damage. Also, the full trap coming out onto Shifty's at the moment. Grayson, this could be his first block.
He missed the
I
MD.
think MD, he missed it. A little bit of a blunder there by CMG. CMG hovering around 50% HP. The Hodge coming out from Avengelyne onto Shifty's. This could be Grayson's first block. He's choosing not to, though. He has full HOTS, so he's deciding he's confident with those Druid HOTS, and he doesn't actually have to use that first block there, despite that crazy CC chain onto Shifty's.
Yeah. Swap over to CMG though at 50%. Shifty loading up the hot spamming the regrowth. There's the cross CC from the God Comp though. Dhorothy into the Horrified. Devouring Plague going to connect. Joxy throws down the ground. He unfortunately doesn't ground the silence. He's going to have to sit through that. Dhorothy trying to line of sight on the tomb. Nice explosive trap, knocking CMG to the other side, giving Joxy the time to come out of the CC eventually with the sacrifice, but now he has none left for Joxy. Still has the Trinket, 2 links. Trinket deterrence as well. Crow's coming out onto Grayson. It might be his first block here. Wyvern Sting onto Shifty. Trap lands half, 30% onto Shifty. Power Word Shield comes out, going for the Master Spell. Almost a waste. He does get locked out on it. Grayson could go down. The block's going to be used, and this game is looking a little bit more strong from this team.
Yeah, Joxy still has all his cooldowns. He still has Trinket as well as both links. Avengelyne has no sacks available for Joxy, so the next CC chain on him might be Joxy's Trinket. Here comes the full polymorph. Dhorthy has 1 deterrence. He's going to choose to use that deterrence early, but Joxy into the half polymorph, and there's still a lot of CC to come onto him. He is into that full fear now. Avengelyne has no sack for that. He's also caught into the polymorph right now, and Dhorthy's into the 1v3 situation. The DR clone coming out from Shifty's onto Joxy. Dhorthy caught into that bash. Joxy finally out of CC. CMG, and as I say that, he gets silenced, but the healing stream is down, and now Joxy finally out of CC should be able to hopefully top up Dhorthy, but now he's into the deep freeze. Shifty's into the Hodge, though the counter pressure onto Grayson. The wings coming out from Avengelyne. Grayson could be in a lot of trouble. Uses that second block as well as the Iron Bark there. Grayson not going to have a block available for another 2 minutes, and now they're switching onto Shifty's at the moment, who gets away. Use that Iron Bark, just splices away behind the pillar. He has the crows still on him, but Grayson in a lot of trouble at 20% HP. Shifty needs to get heals on him. Uses that NS to try to get him off, and Avengelyne and Dhorthy have so much pressure right now.
Yeah, Dhorthy into the Horrify now, full pull into Joxy. Nice sack by Avengelyne, but the Devouring Plague comes up. Shifty into the Fist of Justice. Grayson and Dhorthy both on the ropes right now. Joxy using the Aura Mastery, tops him off. Shifty getting the Hots rolling, finally going to top him off with the Swiftmen. Both the teams evening out as far as health bars are concerned, but Grayson's out of blocks. Dhorthy still has 1 Trinket Deterrence, as well as Joxy's Trinket Spirit Link, so it's really Dhorthy and Avengelyne's game to lose at this point.
Yeah, exactly. He has those BM Crows coming up in around 15 seconds, and that's going to be their opportunity to really kill Grayson. Shifties will have an Iron Bark ready for that, so he needs to make sure he saves that for that moment. Dhorthy in a little bit of trouble, gets bopped out of the bash, though, still taking a significant amount of damage. Joxy's choosing to sit that full polymorph at the moment. Avengelyne getting some heals, but he is in that Cyclone at the moment. Dhorthy using that deterrence. He has another one coming up in around 20 seconds, but they're going to try to get Dhorthy topped off and try to turn it around onto Grayson. Avengelyne using that bubble, Joxy using that Stoneform as well. And now Shifty's in a lot of trouble. It's coming out on him, and he could just die. He gets exploded through Barkskin, and Team I'm Stuck is going to take this match 2-1.
Wow. Wow. The Ret Hunter team pulls it through. I thought Dhorthy was going to go down here with Joxy holding on to his trinket that whole time, but their team rotated their defensive cooldowns well. Dhorthy pressing that deterrence, and Joxy kept them on. Avengelyne just popping that bubble, staying offensive. The Hodge goes out and catches Shifty in that travel form, and that's just not enough, and they're going to go down. And I'm Stuck is going to advance, and up next we have I'm Stuck versus DBBDB.